And we're live.
Good morning, everyone. Would you do a roll call, please, Mr. Rutter?
Yes, Warden Danielson,
Present.
Councillor Moffat,
Present.
Councillor Roberts,
Present.
Councillor Kennedy,
Councillor Kennedy is absent with regret.
Councillor Burton,
Present.
Councillor Ryle,
Present.
Councillor DeBolin,
Present.
and Councillor Schell.
Present.
Thank you.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda for today, please? Councillor DeVolin, Councillor Roberts.
Moved by Councillor DeVolin, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that the June 9th, 2021 Haliburton County Committee of the Whole agenda be approved.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof today? Hearing none, we'll move on to delegations. And first up, we have Randy Peelsticker with Adventure Haliburton to make a presentation.
Bring in Randy.
Good morning, Randy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How's everyone today?
Good. If you want to go ahead with your presentation.
Great. I'm just going to share my screen. Give me a moment to get started, please. All right. Can everyone see the Adventure Haliburton start page? I'm assuming everybody can, so I will proceed here. So again, my name is Randy Peelsticker. I'm speaking today on Adventure Haliburton Group. I'm going to speak briefly about the group. I'm going to speak in depth about Driftscape, our new online digital marketing campaign. I'm going to talk about how some of these new techniques will align with local initiatives, how you guys can help, and then leave some time at the end for some questions. The Adventure Haliburton Group is a collaborative marketing campaign. We have over 20 members, and our mandate is really to market Haliburton as a destination rather than just our individual businesses. It started more than a decade ago, though in 2017, it was formalized to become a not-for-profit group. Everything is member funded and everything is staffed and organized by volunteers. In the past, our marketing initiatives included trade shows, rack cards, websites, social media, and print ads. We had often been looking at an opportunity to start a digital app. We looked at doing a passport competition similar to what's done in Bruce County. And that was all before COVID. When COVID hit, obviously things changed. There became even more demand to make things digital and online. And we felt that if we wanted to invest in a marketing platform, it needed to be something that was going to be relative 10 years from now, not just the best thing in terms of marketing 10 years ago. This is where we found Driftscape, and it really provided a solution to many of our challenges and an answer to our initiatives. So one of the things several of the things I really like about this organization, first of all, it is conceived in Waterloo, Ontario. It is a local product. They have no advertising on their site. It is all user funded. They don't have any social media. Sorry, I should correct that. They do have links to social media, but on their app, there are no opportunities to leave reviews or comments or anything like that. So the site is very clean compared to a lot of the others. The other thing I really like about this organization is since their inception, all their new developments have been in direct relation to the needs of their members. It has several main functions. So basically, it is an online digital navigation tool that allows you to find places, events, and tours throughout Canada. It has several different views. You can look at it from a map view. You can look at it from a list view, which gives icons and a brief description. And there's a higher function called augmented reality that I will speak to a little bit later. It also has a variety of search filters where you can whittle things down by region, by activity, by destination, by a whole bunch of different elements, and it will narrow down what it is you're looking for so that there's not everything all at once. Once you get onto a site that you're interested in, it's not just a text description. You have options to put in audio files, video files, pictures, and text, and it's very user-friendly, and it really does have a lot of great functionality there. It also, some of the higher functions allow us to gamify tourism, which is going beyond just a digital navigation tool and a destination promotion tool. It's not just going to bring in new users, but it's also going to inspire locals to travel more. And any of the neighboring regions that also get on board with Driftscape, they will be advertising our POIs on the map. And I will speak to that a little later as well. Right now, I'm just going to exit my screen share here of the slideshow presentation to go into an internet browser just to show you what Driftscape looks in the web-based version. I'm hoping everybody can see this. So right now I'm focusing on Fenelon Falls, which is a neighboring region which has just invested in Driftscape. You can see on the map, as I start to zoom in, you will see different features.
Randy, we can't see what you're,
yes?
We can't see the internet browser that you're referring to.
Okay. Let me just see if I need to share a different screen. Bear with me, please, just one moment. Can you see the online browser now of Fenelon Falls map?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, sorry for that. So as you'll notice, as I zoom in, you'll see that there are different icons on this map, and they start to populate as we get closer and closer. So Fenelon Falls has chosen 3 different layers. They have sleep, shop, and eat, and you can see each of the different icons there. And as you get closer and closer, you'll see it breaks down to all the businesses right on Main Street in Fenelon Falls. The interface is a little bit slow. This isn't what you would use as the digital navigation tool. This is the web-based version that has only been live for about 10 days. And this one is to complement the online app that you would have on your mobile device. And this one is to be used as the planning device from your desktop. I just wanted to give you guys a quick view of this so that you could get an idea what we were talking about in case you didn't get to see the YouTube video that I sent out previously. I'm just going to jump back into my slideshow presentation here. Please bear with me. Are we back onto the PowerPoint presentation now?
Yes.
Perfect. So what I'd like to talk about now is how Adventure Haliburton is going to employ Driftscape. So Adventure Haliburton, as I said, we have 25 different members. Our members buy in either as an adventure provider, an accommodator, or a food and beverage. And so basically that is going to coincide with the different layers and the different icons that we put on the map. So layer 1 would be tour providers, layer 2 would be accommodations, layer 3 would be food and beverage, layer 4 will be municipal, and we've even talked about layer 5 being an arts and culture layer. There is room for us to expand. Obviously, our members all pay a different fee depending on what type of membership they have, and that correlates to their icon on the map. I spoke about how Driftscape will allow us to gamify tourism. So beyond just the digital navigation, it will allow us to implement tours. For example, if you wanted to do the hiking trail at Sir Sam's, you could download the tour and you could listen to Chris Bishop give you the audio version, give the audio file of the interpretation of that hike while you hike it. A theme might be something a little different. It could be the best 10 public beaches in the county to go swimming at. A quest is something a little bit more involved, becomes more of a scavenger hunt. And the passport competition, again, is something we spoke about in the past, where people would go to different members of Adventure Haliburton, collecting a stamp for their passport to enter a competition for some sort of a draw prize. And again, it just really allows us to take that type of marketing to a different level because it's very traceable and it gives us lots of great metrics on how successful it has been. So in summary, Driftscape allows going digital to be a very, very easy transition. It allows our users to access all the information from a single source, not just from the site that they are inquiring about. Therefore, it's going to draw more people to more sites. It's going to help engage the audience by telling the story through all the different audio files, video files, pictures that are available. It's a great navigational tool to allow people to find their adventures easily, and it will inspire locals to explore. So just recently, we've completed the destination management plan, a process that I was very involved with, something I was very involved with as a student as well, going to school in Kamloops, studying tourism. And here's a quote that I think really epitomizes our initiative here. Tourism, community, and government leaders should collaborate as intentionally as possible to help promote each other's capabilities and mandates. It's important for stakeholders to collaborate and bridge their interests with a destination-first mindset. Again, I think that really speaks towards what we're trying to do here. Some of the strategic priorities that came out of the destination management plan include community collaboration. That's very much what we are. We are a partnership of local stakeholders. We are enhancing the destination brand because with this tool, every time someone comes to our destination for one tourism attraction, accommodation, food provider, they're now going to find the information very easily about all the other destinations locally. It's also diversifying our destination development by going digital. More so as other organizations, other regions, such as Fenelon Falls, such as Huntsville, which has also recently invested in Driftscape, when they are marketing their own POIs on the map, they are going to be drawing attention to our POIs because they are not far from each other. Some of the alternative incentives, when I used to manage retail on Main Street, I used to train my staff not just to sell the products on our shelves, but also to sell the community, educating them on current events, other activities, other restaurants, things like that, so they can answer those questions. And this is now a great resource that we can distribute to all businesses in the community to help fulfill that goal. Also, I was previously engaged with Amanda and Tamara around the Explore Our Lakes initiative, and there's many great spin-offs that could help promote that in terms of allowing people to find boat launches and places like that much easier using Driftscape. Our keys to success, number one, we need to populate the site. We need to work with all of our members to get their information up to date. It's very easy to take some snippets off of people's websites to populate it initially, but to make it really effective, we need to tailor all of that information, video files, audio files, things like that, to make sure that they are truly promoting the goals that we are looking for. Part of the initial launch is not just to get a marketing presence out here and get the site populated, but it's also to get this application into the hands of our local tourists. And that is going to require lots of effort, not only from our partners, but also from additional advertising and different marketing campaigns. And then, of course, we need to invest in ongoing marketing. We need to keep this up to date. We need to allow new members to join so that we continue to grow. Some of our challenges, this is a same story for everybody. It's time and money. We have a very ambitious Canada Day launch. We are still confident that we can meet that goal. And again, we believe that we can make this a sustainable entity, but we do need some assistance with some of the startup costs. Some of our collaborations to make this happen, we have been talking with County Tourism. We've discussed with them that they would support this, this initiative in terms of trying to get the app into the hands of our tourists, but not necessarily to solicit membership to the Adventure Haliburton group. We've asked County Tourism for funding. In return, we will put all their municipal POIs on the map. And we will also promote the use of Driftscape through local visitor centers and the county tourism social media promotions. We've also been in touch with the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization, speaking with Nicole, and we've also sent an ask to them for financial support, but the conversation there took a bit of a different context in that we're talking about using Haliburton County as a pilot project to get Driftscape into some of our neighboring counties that fall under OTO's jurisdiction. And again, that helps to collaboratively market all of these destinations with everything being so close together on the map. One of our other promotion campaigns is with the cattle rental agencies. They are very excited about Driftscape because they have been searching for something to really help their visitors, which there are thousands of new tourists coming in through the local cattle rental agencies, and they are going to help promote this using this as part of their digital welcome package. To look at our financial breakdown, again, we have some startup costs, we have some long-term expenses as well. Just to explain the items on the list there, the $4,800 for Driftscape, that is an annual membership that gives us our package of 75 POIs, several tours, and different assets like that. The marketing launch, again, deals with our local advertising, getting our members on board. We have a promo pack that we'll be sending out to all of our members, which makes up a lot of the materials, and again, local advertising to help get this into the hands of users. Total cost of just over $18,000 with an annual cost of nearly $11,500. Our ask to County Tourism is $5,000 to help with the initial startup costs and an annual subscription of $2,500 to help with the ongoing costs. In review, Driftscape really answers the what to do question. We are hoping that our financial model behind this marketing initiative will be sustainable, will be user funded, and will be something that will be an investment for the long term, not just a short-term gain. This is a great destination promotion initiative in that it is digitizing all the great resources that make Haliburton a great tourism destination. And again, it is a fantastic collaboration of community stakeholders and local government. So I would like to thank all of you for your time today. And I hope that we will be able to solicit your support in making this initiative happen. And at this point, I will end my share screen and turn it over to the council in case you guys have any questions for me.
Thanks, Randy. That sounds like an ambitious plan. I would look to council members for questions or comments. Start with Councillor Moffat and then Roberts and DeBolen.
Thank you. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate the initiative on this. I was wondering, I have like a dozen questions on my piece of paper here. I'm wondering about the ability to manage this, because you are volunteers, as you mentioned. It's a big job in terms of, for example, the gamify part. So who decides, develops, implements, manages, and monitors all of that? So you mentioned, tour of the hill and, have voiceover and then prizes for the passport. That's a huge job, just that little piece. So I'm interested in how the volunteers are going to manage something that is poised to be quite big.
This is an excellent question. So thank you very much, Councillor Moffat. So part of those marketing costs is we are contracting an outside marketing agent to facilitate a lot of this process for us. It's an organization called Medalist that operates out of Peterborough. They do other marketing for local businesses here. They are very professional, very highly recommended. And we've been in negotiation with him because we thought exactly the same. This is well above and beyond our ability as a group of volunteers to facilitate this. So we are hiring his expertise to come in, not only to help our members populate their own sites, but also to help develop the themes, the tours, the quests, and to help with the ongoing marketing and keeping all of our members' POIs and information on the map up to date. So a big chunk of that marketing fee that you saw in the financial breakdown for both the initial costs, the site population, and the ongoing marketing are associated to an outside contractor.
Continue.
Could I have a follow-up?
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, Randy. Again, clarify if the third party is going to be keeping up the POI info and details for your members. What about those who aren't members of Adventure Haliburton who could also be involved in this?
Okay, so in order to get a POI on the map, you need to be a member of Adventure Haliburton. So we are purchasing a package of POIs from Driftscape, and with membership to Adventure Haliburton, you will get a POI on the map. And basically Adventure Haliburton is going to be, for lack of a better expression, quarterbacking the team of POIs on the map and making sure that they are all aligned and marketing towards a common goal.
Oh, I have 10 more. I'll circle back.
Okay, we'll go to other members of council and then come back to you. So Councillor Roberts.
Okay, thank you. I figured Carol would have a list. That's good. That shows that we're interested and excited about this. It's a very interesting site, and I went to the Driftscape website, and like you say, it's very clean. So my question was, there's so much out there, you know, and the old easy Google type is things to do in Haliburton or things to do in Minden or whatever you're typing in. And then you get that kind of stuff. How do you get people to go to an app? How do you market that they put the app on their phone first to make that the go-to? And just my secondary question is more, we don't have Amanda on screen, and I have no idea what the resolution might just say to receive, but I don't even know if 5,000 is in our budget or possible this year. So that's just my question to the Director of Tourism when we see her.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer your questions in reverse order. So we've already spoken with Amanda. It was her suggestion that we bring this to county for delegation. And I believe it was within her budget. She was just looking to get you guys on board before she approved the request. And your first question was more involved. So you're absolutely right. Everybody knows that if they're looking for any information, the first thing they're going to do is a Google search. Again, all of our members will come up on that Google search. If you're looking for dog sledding and you come up with the Haliburton Forest, at the bottom of the Haliburton Forest page, there's going to be looking for what else to do in Haliburton. Click on Driftscape. Any of the correspondence that our members have with their potential clients, again, they are going to be selling that application by saying, if you're looking for a restaurant to eat at while you're staying here, please download Driftscape. So that is how we personally are going to get it into the hands of our customers. It's certainly a bigger take to get it into the hands of people who aren't already our customers. So that is where we are starting to collaborate, number one, with the cottage rental agencies. So number one, they bring thousands of new tourists into our community every year, and they are hungry for something like this that is literally your digital concierge service to everything you might want to do here in Haliburton County. Other campaigns we're looking at is involving real estate companies. Again, if they're trying to sell the real estate in this community, they want to sell the community, not just the property. This is another tool that they can use to get it into hands of new visitors to Haliburton. And then again, our own marketing campaigns, whether it's the tourism map, the local tourism guides, print advertising, and we're also talking to local radio as well.
Councillor DeVolen.
I just saw Amanda's hand there that I think she wanted to comment.
Oh,
that I proceed to.
I'm sorry, Amanda, I missed that. If you want to respond, Amanda?
Thank you, through you, Madam Warden. Just to clarify, I haven't actually committed to the project. I did tell the Adventure Haliburton group that it could be something that county tourism promotes, but because there's so many layers and so many different players, that's why I recommended that it did come to Haliburton County Council for decision. And to answer the budget question, yes, we do have the budget currently, but I would just be concerned with ongoing costs and who would manage beyond the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor DeVolen.
A couple things. Certainly, there's a bunch of information questions that we'll all have, including Councillor Moffat's book that she has already started. I'm sure that to make a decision for me, this shows what the platform is, what it is, and to go forward so that we can seriously consider how we may or may not be involved in this. I'm a techie, so anything in a mobile platform immediately has my attention, and it's not prejudicial towards any platform. It operates well across all three, which is not always the case. And but some nuts and bolts. So additional members, you know, what's the barrier to entry? The cost for somebody to get into it that wants to become a member and do that. And secondarily, the $4,800 a year, is there a numeric limitation there? Let's think that this takes off like a rocket ship, that there's 500 members within a year or two. Is there a next tier, or is there other cost escalations beyond that 4,800? So kind of some numbers based things that will help me in subsequent discussions I'm sure we're going to have about this. If you could, Randy.
You guys like to throw your questions at me in multiples, so I'm taking notes here, and I'm going to do my best to answer all of them there. But thank you, Councillor DeVolen. So first of all, the user, so our members, there's different buy-in points. So an adventure tour provider, they are our premium member. They buy in at the most expensive price point, accommodators at a lower price point, and food and beverage at a third price point. And so again, we are trying to promote adventure in Haliburton, but we realize that the other pillars of tourism, accommodation, and culinary are important as well. And that's why we have brought them on board in recent years. Again, we can discuss those fees in more detail if need be, but your other question to that $4,800 package. So there are different packages available. There is a more economical one. The one that we looked at has 75 POIs. If you look at other destinations like Toronto that have a whole bunch of different organizations all there, the map gets very busy very quickly. The nice thing about Haliburton is all of our members are relatively spread out, and we can grow. So even though we have purchased a package that has 75 POIs, 3 tours, and a quest, I believe is the package. If we want to purchase additional POIs, you can purchase those on a per POI basis, and there is no limit. We can buy as many as we want. There are also purchase prices. If we want to do 7 tours instead of just 3, we can purchase more tours. Again, it all just needs to be user funded. So we've purchased a package that we feel is a great starting point that will allow us to populate the map with enough interest that it's effective, but not overwhelming. And again, this is a an Adventure Haliburton initiative. You know, we don't need to be putting hair salons and, you know, knitting shops on our POI map. We want to keep the theme to be adventure based. We are making exceptions to you know, retailers that sell gear that helps promote adventure, things like that. As I said, we're bringing in food and beverage, we're bringing in the breweries, because we think those are all important complements to the tourism industry.
A couple of questions.
Does that answer your question?
A couple of questions for me. Have you already committed yourself financially to this package?
No, we have not.
And one of the concerns that I've got is that you talk about the fact that, you know, if we become involved in this, that it will have everything that's available in Haliburton County. But in fact, that's not actually so. It's more that it would have everything associated with your membership, right?
We are here to promote tourism.
But the POIs are only associated with your members.
That is correct, yes. Anybody, if they are interested in getting a POI, is welcome to join Adventure Haliburton.
Okay, I'll move over back to Councillor Moffat.
Thanks. And when we first saw this in the agenda, I went and poked all around the Driftscape. And I like the presentation and I like the intention, even though I think it's an extraordinarily huge undertaking. And at the risk of being the dinosaur lady at the table, I remember back in the day, when I was doing the county's tourism marketing, it was membership based in the Chamber of Commerce, and it was continually a battle because there were people who said, I shouldn't have to join an organization to be involved in promotion of like tourism promotion of the county. And that in part over time led to the tourism marketing arm leaving the Chamber of Commerce and nesting back inside the county. So for me, I have to say that the membership requirement is a problem because I think pay to play isn't an equal playing field for all the stakeholders. And even though I love the way you've framed it and I love the content that can plug into it, it sounds like it could become like a separate DMO that's meant to complement what the county is doing, but then lives somewhere else and is only for people who pay. And that's the confirmation of the membership requirement is a hurdle for me.
Can I interject there? But so first of all, we are not in need of soliciting new members to make this happen. We already have more than 20 members who are all very interested in Driftscape. Our, you know, and again, their membership fees used to pay for things like trade shows, which we are no longer able to do. So we are now allocating their portion of those membership fees to hire Driftscape and to promote Driftscape. And this is an alternate to what we've offered them before. And county tourism is one of our members. They pay an annual fee and have for many years. And we collaborate on many things, again, working together to help promote tourism here in the county. And again, we are not trying to stop county tourism from promoting any of these other businesses. We are trying to complement and you know, if people are coming here for adventure activities that are being promoted through Driftscape and Adventure Haliburton, there's spin-off for the entire economy and every other business here. And yeah, I don't think that we are, our intention is not to interfere with county tourism. Our goal is to help them and promote all the other businesses here as well.
Do you have more questions, Councillor Moffat?
I don't have a question. I have a suggestion. I I'm wondering about, into looking at the bigger picture, we have later in the agenda, we know that in regards to the destination development plan or destination management plan, that the content creator position wasn't funded. And because we appear to be sort of coming out of COVID, and there's a desire and a need, certainly even through this presentation, to sort of bolster community and tourism needs, I wonder about taking a look at the remaining safe restart funds that we have at the county, and to piggyback those funds with destination management plan aspects and the economic development position to help sort of bolster post-COVID community needs and, tourism promotion. And that way we could tie the content creator position that wasn't funded sort of into that bigger overarching picture. And then this might be something that plugs into that, as opposed to funding this as a standalone or assisting this as a standalone thing. I mean, I love the idea, but I just wonder if it's if we need to do some more internal conversation around those bigger bites and tie them together first. Just a suggestion.
That's a thought for us to consider, for sure. I still have a little bit of a problem funding something that will only serve certain particular businesses in the county, whereas to date most of the funding that the tourism department has funds the county as a whole, and pretty much anybody that we've got within it. So I've got a little struggle with it. We'll go to Councillor DeVolen and then Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, which is why I earlier said, like, we're receiving a delegation that's information to make subsequent decisions, whatever. So to me, this is not the place to get into all those details, and there's some additional information required that may not be readily available for today, but it's certainly very formative in where we may go with this, and the nuts and bolts of where the money might come from and all that. So I would be definitely, there's a lot more conversation to be had around this.
Is there specific information that you're looking for, Councillor DeVolen?
I want to see the nuts and bolts behind some of the questions that I've asked here that we can't do in the time allotted. The back and forth, there's just some nuts and bolts that I have, and like I say, Councillor Moffat, I'm sure, has pages of this, whatever, that just like today, we don't have hours on this one, but it does serve as a template and a springboard for us to have those discussions. So just, and I think lots of other members of council will have the same, so that we formulate those, and whether we pass them on to Amanda and tourism, whatever, so that we can get all of that information back in its entirety before we have a wholesome discussion.
Councillor Roberts.
Okay.
Did you want to respond to that, Randy?
Actually, I wanted to respond to your question around budgeting. And again, it's you see the ask that we're looking for, $5,000 initially, $2,500 on the ongoing. And you expressed the concern that that it wasn't marketing the community as a whole. There are lots of other expenses that come out of the tourism budget, such as the digital fish derby, Hike Haliburton. There's lots of other expenses in there that also do not promote the county as a whole and ask for much more money than this. I think the bottom line is, it's in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's a huge financial ask. And I think it's a great initiative that will bring more tourists here, which is the bottom line for any of our initiatives, any of our collaborations, is to bring more people here, to spend more money at any of our businesses, whether it's a gas station or a ski hill, it doesn't matter. We want to bring those people from the outside in. And we feel confident that this is a great marketing strategy that is not just going to be relevant for the near future, but for a long term in the future, as everything is shifting to the digital landscape. And we feel we're getting in on the ground floor with a great organization being Driftscape.
We certainly appreciate the presentation and the idea behind this. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that Hike Haliburton is a County of Haliburton event. it's not that we're sponsoring something for someone else in that case. But I think we'll go to Councillor Roberts. Did you had a question?
I did, but I'm actually glad I'm taking my question after Randy just spoke, because I agree with him. And the point of membership, there's lots of organizations where you have to be a member to take advantage of this opportunities that they have. Even you have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce to get some of the opportunities that they have. But I'm really excited about this, and I think it's something that we should be supporting, but maybe we don't need to make the decision today. I don't know, again, what the resolution is recommending, or if we can wait till 2 weeks from now to make that decision. But I think that the spin-off of, and what Randy's spoken to, if you come up and you want to go dog sledding, you aren't just going to go dog sledding and go back. You're likely staying somewhere, you're likely eating somewhere. There are other organizations and other things that will benefit from this greatly. So I'm excited about this. I would support it today, but if other councillors aren't wanting to do that yet, or I don't feel that I need a whole lot more information, put it that way.
I suspect that at the present time, unless we ask for a change, that the resolution probably says that we receive the delegation for information at this point in time, unless council wants to do something different. Are there any other questions for Randy at this point in time that he can help to clarify things? It's sounding to me like we would need a report from Amanda to further clarify how this would fit into our processes. I mean, we understand that the budget, we wanted to use it, but there have been some other suggestions, as Carol has made, that we might want to consider. Councillor Moffat.
Thank you. I was just going to reiterate what you just said. Is I think that there's so much that could and should be done. And we have the Safe Restart funds. We have this giant destination management plan. We have an economic development officer coming. We have Adventure Haliburton that's put all this work into this program. And so we've got all these pieces around. And I think we need to, for me, a more concise look at the playing field to make sure we're all moving in the right direction for the right reasons. And not that there are any wrong reasons here. I'm not prepared to say yes to the money today. I just want to have a little more maybe thinking or conversation just about that bigger picture and how it plugs in for the best benefit of all involved or who want to be involved. And maybe that's some additional questions about the membership part. I'm really struggling with that.
Yeah.
But I love the idea. But anyway, debates. I mean, delegations aren't debates. They're an opportunity to present information. So.
Okay. Before we hear the resolution, are there any other questions or comments from other members of council? Go ahead, Randy.
Sorry, I didn't think you were only addressing members of council there, but thank you for your time today. And just in closing, I would like to say that if anyone does need any further information, please feel free to send me an email. We can also collaborate with other members of the Adventure Haliburton group. We're happy to answer all of your questions around the details of our membership, of our payment structure, things like that. But again, time is limited here today. So again, if you need any follow-up information, just ask and we can be available whenever you need. Lastly, I would like to say that we are just waiting for a green light on this. We are ready to go. We are ready to initiate this. We feel like we've got all of our ducks in a row. And again, I understand that there is process and protocol within the council for you guys to make your decisions properly and accurately, and we totally respect that. But we would just, we would like to know as soon as possible whether we are going to be able to do this with your funding or whether we're going to have to find other means to move forward.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. So I'm not seeing any other hands for comments or questions. So could I have a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor?
Would you like me to read the motion out?
That might be helpful, yes.
Because I heard a couple things and I'm not sure if I captured it or not. So the initial part is, be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the delegation from Randy Peelsticker on behalf of Adventure Haliburton. And then I've added a couple different clauses or options, I guess. I think the easy one is that committee request a follow-up report from the Director of Tourism on possible next steps. But I also heard that this request be considered as part of a broader conversation regarding the destination management plan implementation and the development of an economic development strategy for the county. I'm not sure if I read too much into that comment or if you want that in the resolution.
Thoughts, Councillor Moffat?
I don't know that that part belongs in. I think that's just a suggestion to have. I don't want to tie this to that. It's just a suggestion for us to take a minute to look at that overarching view. Like I love the work that's been put into this, and I absolutely see the value, and I love the pieces of it. Just not sure where it fits as a standalone, and I just want a little bit more thinking time, and maybe I'll reach out to Randy and just ask some more questions that are floating around my foggy head today. But what I'm looking for is, how do we make it fit? That's what I'm looking for. It doesn't fit for me today as a standalone. I like it. I see the value. I want to figure out how to make it fit. I'm over and out.
So I think from what I'm hearing, that the resolution could go forward without the very last sentence.
Yeah.
So could I have a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor? Councillor DeBolen, Councillor Moffat.
Moved by Councillor DeBolen, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the delegation from Randy Peelsticker on behalf of the Adventure Haliburton Group, and that committee requests a follow-up report from the Director of Tourism on possible next steps.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much, everyone.
We'll move into our next delegation, which includes Randy, from the Haliburton Tourism Action Committee, looking at revitalizing tourism stakeholder group. And welcome, Emily.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. It is nice to see so many of your faces again. I think this is only my second Zoom council meeting, so it's kind of different, but it's nice to see everybody again. So I'm going to hop right in. You just heard Randy talk an awful lot. It was all very informative, but I will be taking the lead on this presentation moving forward, and Randy can chime in as he sees fit. So here, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Whoops. Can you see that? Move you guys over here. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, not sharing that. Present. There we go. All right, so I will be speaking a little bit today on the Haliburton Tourism Action Committee. So really taking a big interest in tourism this meeting, which is great. That's what my passion is. I think everybody here, but just for a little brief introduction, my name is Emily Stonehouse. I am the co-manager of an experiential tourism company called Yours Outdoors, but I'm here today as the new co-chair for something called the Haliburton Tourism Action Committee. Randy already introduced himself. I don't know if Randy wants to say anything else about who he is and his role, but he will be the co-chair with me as well. I can't see Randy right now, so if you want to speak now or forever hold your peace.
I didn't really do a formal introduction beforehand, so if you don't mind, I'll just speak up. So I do work as the assistant general manager at Sir Sam Ski and Ride. I also volunteer my time as the VP of the Adventure Haliburton Group, and also as the co-chair of what was previously the Tourism Stakeholders Committee that Emily and I are working together to try to revise. And Em, I'll hand it back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the big thing that Randy and I have in common is that we are incredibly passionate about bringing people to Haliburton County. Not only bringing people to Haliburton County, but sharing what we already have. So myself was somebody who lived here a long time and didn't actually know the true gem that Haliburton County is and Haliburton Highlands. So I've come back here, it's coming on 5 years that I've been back in the Haliburton Highlands. And it's been my #1 job ever since I've been back, to share everything great that we have in the Highlands. So we think that this is a great opportunity to be able to effectively share that with our locals and visitors alike. So we'll hop right in here. So who we are, Haliburton Tourism Action Committee. This is a collaboration of the tourism industry within Haliburton County. So this is a group that was formerly known as the Haliburton Tourism Stakeholder Committee. And this group will be dedicated to bringing like-minded tourism partners together in an effort for networking, collaboration, and success as a community. And again, it will be chaired by myself, Emily, and Randy. So the previous stakeholder committee, I think I've seen a lot of you there before. We've been involved in different areas, levels of involvement throughout the past. But this committee was instrumental in offering monthly meetings, which offered networking opportunities for 20 to 40 local restaurants, accommodators, and tour operators, as well as representatives from local government. Like I said, I've seen a lot of familiar faces there at some point or another. It's kind of a great networking. There was coffee and croissants, and we all got together and we talked about different things. We'd include things like industry updates. We would always feature a local stakeholder of interest. There would be training sessions. Again, it was an opportunity to connect with local government, as well as an opportunity to just talk. We talked about ups and downs of the industry, where we would benefit from changes, different grants, initiatives, and future collaboration. So with the COVID-19 pandemic, the nature of those meetings were no longer viable. So that did result in a hiatus for the Tourism Stakeholder Committee. So throughout this little shift, former chairs Barry Martin and Bruce Ballantyne have since passed the torch to myself and Randy, and we've stepped in as co-chairs. And we like to think that with this new leadership, we're also bringing in some new ideas, new enthusiasm, and a little bit of a new direction. It's also been noted that with the absence of the County Tourism Committee, there requires a new means of communicating the needs of tourism in the area, because we'd like to be able to effectively provide insight and direction to County Council and County Tourism as well. So the big point of this presentation is kind of identifying that moving forward, we would be acting as that link between the needs of the tourism community and County Council. So this would be done in the form of delegations through the HaliTAC co-chairs. So we've got 6 goals. This list, I'm sure, will continue to grow as we continue to develop. But #1, right off the bat, we're looking to define the terms of reference for involvement. We would like to actively engage all of our current members. So like everybody else, I think a lot of people kind of not took a hiatus from working, but took a hiatus in networking and collaboration, as we've been required to isolate a lot over the past year. We're looking at recruiting new members. So there's been a lot of new businesses. It's been surprising to see how many new businesses have come to the area through a lockdown time. It's incredible. There's wonderful things in our community. It's just getting better and better each day. So we'd like to recruit those new members with different like-minded ideas. We'd like to offer opportunities for networking, again, collaborative promotion, and new business development. And finally, we'd like to identify the needs of the tourism businesses within the county, and then again, report to County Council to devise a more comprehensive tourism strategies that effectively address the needs of our community. And finally, of course, we'd like to ensure that all of these initiatives are in line with the county destination management plan. So we've got a couple next steps and a timeline here. Next step, #1, is Randy and I have already started drafting this, but we'd like to develop a tourism sentiment survey to kind of help guide ourselves, actually, that's for us. So we'd like to send it out to all past members of this committee or this organization to tell us what they'd like us to do. We've got some great ideas. We've got some great direction. We think we're going to make things really neat, really interesting. The coffee and croissants were wonderful, but we're going to kind of expand that a little bit. And we're going to make these more engaging presentations, more networking opportunities, different things like that. So we think everybody's ready to see other people again. We're ready to see other people again. I don't think we'll ever be ready to hug again, but we're going to get pretty close to that point. So we really want to kind of reach out to everybody and make sure that we are addressing their needs effectively so that we can work together better. We are looking to reconvene these monthly meetings beginning in September 2021, giving everybody a chance to get vaccinated, giving everybody a chance to feel settled into their roles and giving everybody in the tourism industry the chance to have a really, really great summer. So we recognize it's a busy time, but we're ready to go as soon as the fall hits. We're also considering the increased demand for hyperlocal tourism. On that, HaliTAC will host a tourism summit to promote Haliburton as a destination. I don't know, Randy, if you want to explore that slightly while we have a minute.
Absolutely. Thanks, Em. So trade shows are no longer really a thing, and they may bounce back in years to come, but for the most part, I don't think anybody's really interested in hanging out in a convention center with poorly circulated air and thousands of strangers. But hyperlocal tourism is gives us a different opportunity. So rather than the big GTA trade shows, we're looking at hosting something smaller here. Again, the idea that we're working on right now is to host it at Sir Sam's. We would have the chalet, and one room would be for accommodators, one room would be for culinary, one room would be for tour operators, one room would be for government organizations. We'd have opportunities to do some activities out on the hill, being biking or hiking, opportunities for food and drink, opportunities for live music. And again, just bringing everybody together in one place to not only educate our own members and our own local tourism providers about all the other great things that are happening here in our own community, but also to attract other people to come to our community and show that we really are a great destination for tourism. And in a nutshell, I think I'll just leave it at that and hand it back over to Emily.
Yeah, so that's a, thanks, Randy. That is a long-term goal for what HaliTAC is, but that's just an example of some of the collaborative efforts we'd like to carry with us moving forward. So we've got a lot of new visions and new ideas for how we'd like to promote tourism in the area as well. And finally, again, the reason we are here today is we would like to develop and maintain positive relationships with our local government officials, as well as stakeholders in the area, in order to prepare for future success. So an opportunity, again, to just kind of connect the dots here and make sure that we're all working together and on the same page moving forward. We wanted to put it out there as well that if anybody watching this presentation wants to connect with us, if you're a new business in the area, if there's somebody who would like to reconnect with what we're offering and the opportunity we're offering here, this is our contact information. Our door is always open. We obviously completely recognize that there's been a lot of highs and lows to the tourism industry and to the economy over the past year and a half. So we'd like to hear some of those challenges. We'd like to talk about how we can move forward to succeed together in the future. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me. It's exciting being back and doing this. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. But yeah, other than that, that's it for me.
Well, thanks so much to you both. It is exciting to see discussions starting about getting the tourism stakeholders together again. The idea of a summit in Haliburton is quite exciting. I would look to members of council for questions or comments. Did I see Councillor DeVolen's hand up? Sorry, Councillor Moffat.
I know I keep saying Brett and I look so much alike. You mix us up as so often.
Just hair.
Yeah, again, I would like to thank Emily and Randy for this. I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. It's great that the tourism stakeholder group reconvened and sort of recalibrated. The past group, I attended a number of meetings and certainly heard about an awful lot more that I didn't attend. Amid the good work that group did for all the right reasons, toward the end, there was a tremendous amount of discord and bickering, and we sure heard all about that unfortunate part. Mm-hmm. And the internal discord and bickering is what actually just disintegrated that group. So you're going to have terms of reference, great. What about a code of conduct? And, let's be honest, toward the end, the last group just became a field where the county and Amanda were laced time and again, and that will not be tolerated. And I appreciate that you're saying you're looking for a collaborative working relationship. Yay! How do you intend to manage that so that the groups so that there can be collaboration and togetherness? Talk
Absolutely.
to me about that.
No, that's a great question. And that's something that we have certainly put a lot of thought into as well. And I have the privileged situation in that I had one foot in local government at one point and one foot in the tourism industry on and off. So I recognize the challenges of that, certainly. So a big thing, like you said, is a code of conduct right off the bat. We will not be tolerating that type of behavior moving forward. That being said, we also recognize the importance, though, of having people express their opinions on different things, and which is why we're trying to, we think that the survey will kind of lessen the blow a little bit once we kind of engage with people early on. Getting into the actual meetings, that type of behavior will not be tolerated. And then we also think that there's an evolution of the group a little bit. So it's not the same group. That group was around for years and years and years. And we think that there's going to be some new blood mixed into it. It's going to be, we're hoping that it'll be a slightly new group with some new opinions and things like that. And then lastly, we're kind of also, the purpose of us doing the delegations is that oftentimes what we would see in those meetings, particularly when Amanda was present, unfortunately, is that everybody, like you said, would jump on Amanda and say, this needs to be done. We want this done right away. And if it's not done right away, we're going to be very disappointed in you. And that's not how local government works. And that's not how an effective group works. So in the form of us doing these delegations, there's kind of this middle ground where Randy and I listen to people. We come and do the delegations. We talk to county council so that you guys are all involved in these decisions as well. Amanda's right up front, but we're working as more of a team as opposed to he said, she said, and then it gets lost in translation along the way, right? So that's kind of our attempt, is to try to have this more formal presence in county council as representatives of the tourism industry, as opposed to all of the weight landing on Amanda's shoulders at any given time.
Randy, did you want to
Can I
add
just
to that?
speak to? Yeah, please. So first of all, I've been co-chair of the Tourism Stakeholders Committee for the last couple of years before COVID, alongside Barry Martin. And I stepped in after Bruce Ballantyne stepped aside. So I'm not a new co-chair, and I was there in the midst of all of the dissension amongst the ranks, for lack of a better term. My role very much was to try to play Switzerland and stay neutral and stay proactive throughout all of that. People did have some very strong opinions. There were certainly some conflicts of interest there as well. And I think that, you know, a big part of it was that they were looking for more in advance planning. They were looking for their voices to be heard in the strategic plan of county tourism and how things are promoted and marketed and things like that. And, you know, some of the things to them were coming as a surprise. And I am not going to by any means justify how they address their concerns. That was certainly unprofessional and uncalled for. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be listening to their concerns. As a representative of county tourism stakeholders, Emily and I, need to be the ones who hear the good and the bad, and then we will be the filter, so that when it is brought to county tourism or county council's attention, it is not being screamed at you. It is being presented to you as a logical argument. And I think we need that sort of collaboration. We always need to hear both sides of the story to make decisions that affect everybody. So I think that is really our role, is to be the mediator between the stakeholders and yourselves.
So from my perspective, I'm just wondering, what additional support will you require from the county?
I don't think actually in this specific meeting, there's no additional support that's necessarily required. What we're looking for is pretty much to introduce ourselves. There could be a time where we come to you and say, you know what, here's a big grant that just came up that we think would really, really benefit all of the tourism partners in our area. Is there an opportunity to get in on this grant together? Is there an opportunity for perhaps a financial ask for a big project that we have moving forward? Maybe there's an opportunity for county tourism to support this summit. There could be things like that. I think in the long run, it will likely be the most tangible ask will be a financial ask, but moving forward, it's just general support so that we can work as partners moving forward, as opposed to this group, that group, and then a few ties in the middle.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, then Councillor Moffat.
Yeah, just quickly, and I know Warden, you referenced it already about this idea of the summit, and I think that that's really exciting because I know last year with COVID, Dysart tried to do a sort of hyper-local tourism or points of interest, like, you know, not just tourism stuff, but things that we have in our own backyard, and we did it ward by ward. And there, Emily, you referenced at the beginning too, there's so much happening here in Haliburton County, but the people who are working in those industries especially sometimes just can't get outside because it's, or, you know, even know what's going on because they're so focused on their whatever they're doing, whether it be restaurants or running a cultural organization or anything. So I love this idea about a summit because it's the same thing that happens at municipal conferences and stuff. It's that networking. It might be when you're going to get your croissant and your coffee that you have a chat and something you didn't know. And so I really, I hope that you can do this sooner than later, in likely an off season, or you know, first week of April when there's no snow and no biking quite yet. And I really think that that's a great idea. So thank you. Good for you.
Yeah, one of the things that I think we all as members of council have been disappointed in is the lack of ability to network with different like people. So you know, this is a really good start. Councillor Moffat.
Sorry, I had to press my button there. What I wanted to ask was around, and again, it's similar to the previous one about sort of cross the board representation, that I'm just wondering if there are, if you feel there are any concerns with the current sort of MO interaction between the stakeholders and the tourism office, or something that needs fixing or changing, because there have always been a substantial number of businesses and organizations that never did belong to the stakeholder group and still don't and may never. We need to acknowledge that. So this group would be one way to plug into county tourism, but we need to acknowledge it wouldn't be the only one, because there are simply people that aren't joiners of anything. And so how, if you have a stakeholder group, a HaliTAC meeting, and you come away with some desired outcomes or some suggestions or ideas, you know, we need to acknowledge that Amanda still works directly with an awful lot of people. So her job is to balance all, not just liaise with the one. I just want to say that out loud to make sure we all understand and acknowledge that.
Yep, absolutely. And I think, oh, am I allowed to speak? Can I address that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, just get so excited, you know? I think with this organization, it's as much or as little as you choose to be involved. I think that there will be a lot of benefits to being involved, and like anything in life, there are additional benefits to being involved with people. And I think that we're stepping into this new era that quite literally none of us have experienced before. So I think I've been in tourism for long enough to probably be jaded, but I'm not feeling jaded quite yet. And I do feel that this is a group of people who I see the best in a lot of people. And I think that coming out of this experience that nobody has ever experienced before, I think this is exactly the opportunity everybody needs and will potentially be seeking in order to really feel that connection again. So it goes beyond asks and it goes beyond politics. I'm really hoping that we can unite as a community again, with some new direction in mind. And on Warden Danielson's point, I just wanted to take note as well, is that through the stakeholder group, it wasn't mentioned in the presentation, but we'd like to also offer a series of familiarization tours. I know a lot of you have been on familiarization tours before, or FAM tours. I coordinate a lot of those through my work, but once this all gets rolling, I think obviously with all of you, the heads of government, it would be more important than anybody to really come out on these tours and really see what we have to offer, if not to do anything than to just fall in love with your community all over again. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I'd be more than happy to coordinate those for you as well.
Thank you. We'll go to Randy and then Councillor Moffat.
Thank you very much. So just to answer the question about representation or lack thereof, I think that was one of the major downfalls of the previous Tourism Stakeholders Committee, was that there was a lot of people who were not involved with it. And so one of the initiatives that Emily and I are trying to undertake is we want to, number one, remove a lot of the barriers of participation. So previously, all the meetings were 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, the second Wednesday of every month in the off season. One of our first initiatives is we're going to have a random schedule. So there'll be meetings in evenings, meetings in afternoons, meetings in mornings on different days of the week, so that we can try to eliminate some of those barriers of transition. And again, one of our big strategies is to really focus on re-engagement, not just necessarily of those who were always attending the meetings in the past, but especially those who weren't attending those meetings in the past. And that's a big part of what we are trying to do in order to make that group more effective and a better representation. And that is, there's a distinct line of questioning in our tourism sentiment survey that we are going to distribute that will help us, number one, identify those barriers of participation and allow us to formulate some strategies to eliminate them on the way forward.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. As you can see, Randy's the technical person and I'm the dreamer. So together we're going to get everybody in the community. There's something for everybody.
Perfect. Councillor Moffat.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. I love your enthusiasm, and I think I'm, as I said earlier, I'm like the grumpy old lady who's seen this movie 100 times. So I'm a little bit, I'm not gonna say nervous because very little makes me nervous, but I just want to keep our eye on, you know, some of that angst and the folks who said and did terrible things because they couldn't get what they wanted. We are a community of broad-ranging ideas and, you know, diverse initiatives, and we need to embrace all of them. That's why we spent almost a year and a half doing a community-led destination management plan. So everything has to plug into the mothership somehow. And just to circle back on your comment about enthusiasm around sort of grants and fam tours. So the director of tourism already takes care of a lot of that stuff for us. So again, I just want us to make sure that we work hard to hold hands and collaborate as opposed to creating a competitive organization. And that's always my theme. Again, just based on history in the community and the tourism industry, we worked really, really hard over a lot of years to eliminate the splintering. And I want to make sure that everything, if we can, people don't always agree and people have different ideas. And how do we find our way to resolve those for the greater good, as opposed to some of the henpecking that's happened over the past 25 years in this community. So that I would say thanks for recalibrating the group, and I look forward to figuring out how the group and the people who don't belong to it can collaborate for the greater good. So thanks.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions before we wrap up? Well, thanks so much to both of you. We really look forward to seeing some success here. We look forward to seeing your terms of reference and codes of conduct, because I think that will help go a long way to help alleviate some of the problems that you've had in the past. So I would look to a mover and a seconder to receive this delegation. Councillor Moffat, Councillor Shell.
Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Shell. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the June 9th, 2021 delegation from Emily Stonehouse and Randy Peelsticker on behalf of the Haliburton Tourism Action Committee.
All in favor? That's carried. Thanks again, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And you. Okay, next up is the adoption of the minutes from the previous Committee of the Whole meeting. If I could have a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor DeVolen, Councillor Burton.
Moved by Councillor DeVolen, seconded by Councillor Burton. Be it resolved that the minutes from the May 12th, 2021 meeting of Haliburton County Council Committee of the Whole be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next is a correspondence related to the Trent-Severn Waterway and their 2021 navigation season. This is on the agenda as information and correspondence to receive. Any comments, thoughts? Councillor DeVolen?
I would say this. refer to their website, because the previous time that we met at Minden Hills, whatever, with COVID and everything, it's a moving target all the time. So even though we see this one today that's before us, in a week or 10 days, that could change. So I would always go back to their website to know the status of where everything is with the Trent Severn Waterway.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the correspondence? Councillor Roberts, Councillor Moffat, thank you.
Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the May 28th, 2021 news release providing information on the 2021 navigation season for the Trent Severn National Historic Site.
All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, next up we have roads status report and a report on the rail trail and a detour requirement. So if we could bring in our public works folks. Good morning, Robert and Sil.
Good morning.
Raymond Warden and members of council.
If you could go ahead with your status report.
Sure, just to keep things moving along this morning, there's been lots of talk on tourism. We'll just leave it out there. Everything's going well. We're here for any specific questions that council may have for us.
Great report, Robert. A verbal reaction. Do any members of council have any questions on the status report itself? Could I have a mover and a, sorry, Councillor Rayal, you have a question?
Yeah, I just have a question. I noticed that in one of the statements that you have, you're going to be redoing hot surfaces on several of our county roads, and County Road 3, which is the Glenmorgan Road going from Gooderham up to 118, is one of them. We did the lower part a couple of years ago, and I drove on it yesterday. So it looks like we're really doing a great job coming down from 118 towards the other end of it, the south end of it. When we redid the Gooderham one, we made the surface wide enough so that we could accommodate white lines on both sides. In many places on that particular road, and I don't know about some of the other ones, we don't have enough room to put white lines on the sides. And what I'm finding, because of the age groups that I have in my area, that in the summertime, especially when it's raining, those white lines are really important to people. So I was wondering, when we redo the county roads, especially Glenmorgan, is the surface going to be wide enough to accommodate those white lines?
I'll let Sil answer that. He's pretty good with the details of all our specifics on a roadway. If you've got that information, Sil.
Yep. Yes, our road platform will be wide enough. It will be 9 meters wide. So it will provide roughly a meter of a paved shoulder. So with a white line for users like cyclists and walkers, and also the white line will help with the drivers as well.
Thank you.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the status report? Councillor Rayal, Councillor Burton, thank you.
Moved by Councillor Ryle, seconded by Councillor Burton. Be it resolved that the June 2021 status reports on capital projects, operations, and road maintenance be received for information by Haliburton County Committee of the Whole.
All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, next is your rail trail detour report.
Yes, thank you, Warden. With this, I understand that staff from the township and the county met last fall, as well as we met this spring to discuss the possibility of this detour for the township's replacement of the Sedgwick Road structure. So I just put this forward. The township has a tender out, and we're just looking for council's approval for this detour.
I suspect that there would be a few people who would be unhappy about this, but it looks like different alternatives have been investigated, this being the most appropriate one. Councillor DeVolen, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, just a couple things. It's a over 100-year-old bridge that is like $1 million project that we've been very lucky from both the province and the feds that the lion's share of it is not coming from local taxpayers. So we're ecstatic about that. In many alternatives were considered, but it was the only one. And so, you know, as we replace infrastructure, I think of Minden has its bridge torn up at the moment with lights going both ways. Unfortunately, there's some interruption sometimes to some of the public assets that we have, so that we can, you know, improve and replace infrastructure. And like I say, this isn't without precedent. We've done it before. We did the Ritchie's Fall Bridge, and from both as a county councillor and a municipal member of council, things went well, and it didn't present a big risk. And those that are adverse to what may go on there, there's many kilometers of this trail, and they may just choose for this period of times to do those activities elsewhere.
Are there any questions or concerns? Councillor Roberts?
Thank you. Just a couple questions. There's not very many people that live beyond that, where the Sedgwick Bridge is. So do they, maybe through to Councillor Dolan, if I could, do they get notified individually? Is there signage up? And there is also a bridge over the river on the rail trail. Is that got a load capacity that we should be concerned about? Just like, say somebody was getting a load of lumber, like it should be like, yeah, what's happening on the rail trail bridge where people will have to go over?
First of all, there's notifications of those that are affected, absolutely, from the municipality. The second part of it is, and so you can probably straighten me out on this, but I think it was personal and small vehicles only at that time. Trucking or heavy cargo stuff is prohibited during that period. Am I correct?
You are correct. No heavy loads across the trestle, the rail trail trestle, during the road closure or the detour timeframe.
Any other questions on this report? Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to receive it? Councillor Roberts and Councillor Moffat.
Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole received for information the staff report regarding a proposed rail trail detour route, and that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole recommend to Haliburton County Council that a 640-meter portion of the rail trail be used as a detour route around the Sedgwick Road Bridge Replacement Project.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Before we get into the year-end report for EMS, does council wish to take a break or carry through? Okay, I'm seeing nods. How about we reconvene at 10:30? Was that sufficient? All right, we'll see you back here at 10:30.
We're back live.
Welcome back, everyone. Next up on the agenda is emergency medical services, and we'll bring in Chief Waite to give us his year-end report for 2020. Morning, Chief.
Good morning, Warden Danielson and members of council. I have the year-end report for you. It's about a month late. Unfortunately, there's something called COVID out there that had us a little bit delayed in some of our stuff this year. So Mike, if I can just get you to Mike March to just share the screen, please. Thank you. I just want to show you the cover first, because we'll just start where that picture came from. That was taken in October in Ottawa when Ontario Health East requested assistance with swabbing over in the Ottawa area when they had a large spike in COVID cases. So we were able to, I think we got the call on a Thursday that they needed assistance, and we were able to scramble crews together. We sent 4 people over there to assist them. So that's where that picture came from. It was a briefing prior to the mass swabbing event that was held over there. Next page, please, Mike. This is our response times for the year 2020. We did fairly good. You'll just notice that on our sudden cardiac arrests, we managed, which are a very difficult target to meet. We did slightly exceed our targets. However, in CTAS 1s, we were about 9% lower than our target. In CTAS 2, we were 0.9%. We missed our target. And you know that these call volumes, especially in the CTAS 1s, they're a small volume of calls. So one call either way can make a difference whether you go over or under. But we're fairly close, and I think probably going forward we'll just keep our same targets for next year. Yeah, that's and why we were a little bit less in the CTAS 1. It could be associated with call volumes, with the geography that we deal with. But all in all, CTAS 3, 4s, and 5s, we exceeded our targets by a lot. So we did very well there. Next page, please, Mike. So when we look at our call volumes for the year, we can see that from 2019 to 2020, we were up about 10% in our call volumes. And we kind of anticipated this with COVID and the increased population in Haliburton County year round rather than just seasonal. So Mike, if you just go to the next page, please. As you can see from our call volumes per month, some of the months were significantly higher, like September was like 30% higher. And we consistently were higher each month. And we anticipated this, and we associated this with the increased number of residents in our community staying here year round. On the upside of that, in a separate report that I'll put together for future council, is that with the upstaffing of the Tory Hill truck on nights right through till October this year, we've seen a significant drop in the times that we experience what we call CMAX 0, which is that there's no vehicles available at the time for calls, and we have to rely on neighboring services. So we've seen, even though our call volume's up, our CMAX 0 is significantly down. Again, the Haliburton base continues to be the busiest base, but please keep in mind we have 2 trucks stationed out of there. We have the 8-to-8 truck, and we have the 11-to-11 car. So that affects the number of calls that are originating from the Haliburton base. Next page, please, Mike. And this is just shows you the number of times that we do calls outside of the county, and the number of times that trucks are doing calls for us inside the county. We do more outside of the county than we're assisted on inside the county. And the next graph is just sort of a demographics. You can see that a majority of calls are in the senior population. Next page, Mike. So this just shows us a sort of a breakdown of the percentage of calls and their priorities. One thing just take note of, you'll see that the amount of times that we are dispatched out on a code 4, which is considered urgent or life-threatening is significantly higher than the amount of times we return code 4 or life-threatening or emergent or urgent. And that has a lot to do with the information that's gathered from the caller by the dispatch center. Again, that may change once we see the dispatch system change to the new system. But again, with COVID, that's been delayed even further. So that one's a stay tuned, and we'll hope it happens soon. Next page, please, Mike. This is just a breakdown of our vehicle costs and fuel costs. The one thing to take note of, we did decrease for the cost saving measures that we were looking for in 2020. We decreased our maintenance line, which we ended up, we were just about $2,000 over what we budgeted for that. But again, keep in mind that we decreased it based on altering our service schedule as per discussions with the local dealers, and with the changes in like oils, and you can get a longer life cycle out of an oil change. So I think we did well there. We estimate it fairly closely. Our fuel costs, now these fuel costs include the HST. When we take the HST out, we budgeted about $87,000, and when you take the HST out of this, which we get the majority of it back, we were just a few $100s in the good for fuel savings. So we estimated that pretty well bang on. Next page, please, Mike. This is just a breakdown of the different the percentage of call types that we do. And again, if you add that all up, it doesn't come to 100%. I just sort of picked the top ones. And again, interfacility transfers this year again were the largest percentage of our calls, and that a lot of that is associated to transferring patients outside the county for CT scans. Again, our accomplishments. We did, we had lots of great accomplishments, and especially in this past year with COVID, I think we managed to come through it fairly well. And moving forward, we're going to continue to do well as far as I can see. And the community paramedic program, again, it's now a full-time position. And as we said that as we move forward, we're actually expanding the program with the additional funding that we've received from the long-term care. And next page, please, Mike. With emergency management, with COVID, it gave us several obstacles in completing some of the mandatory requirements. We had originally scheduled in-person training for April, which we had to cancel, but we were able to get some training in that included the presentation on viruses and breaking the chain. Mandatory exercise was not required this year because we were actually in real life exercise. And I'm hoping this year is the same since we're still in a state of emergency. We utilize Twitter a lot to get messages out. And as you can see is in the attached, Mike, if you can just switch the page again, we received our compliance letter from Emergency Management Ontario. And that's the completion of the report, if there's any questions.
Thank you, sir. Before I go to questions, I'd just like to congratulate you all. You've taken on additional duties in the last 2 years that I don't think any of us expected or anticipated, and you've all done very well. Things seem to have gone off without too many hitches or glitches. So congratulations to you and to all of our paramedics. I hope that you would pass that on. Are there any questions from council? Councillor Rael?
Yeah, Tim, I can't get over the amount of what you guys have done, and again, definitely, I don't know where we'd be without you guys. But in the first part of this thing, you guys were able to go out and administer COVID vaccine first doses to a lot of our people who can't get out. Are you going to be in a position or capable of doing it again for the second doses? And if so, or is that a crystal ball question?
We're already scheduling the second doses. I think we're actually doing, we're scheduling some for tomorrow. Because, yeah, we have, and we're actually shortening, we've got permission from the health unit. We've shortened the time frame, the minimum time frame for the Moderna vaccine is 28 days. And we have some in our fridge that the health unit asked us to acquire. And we want to use it before it expires. So we're not waiting the 16 weeks for a lot of the individuals we gave the first dose to. We're scheduling them, if they're in the 28-day mark, we're starting to give them their second doses. So we have a list of all those individuals, and we're doing the in-home second doses in the next few weeks. And we do have some scheduled for July and August as well. So we'll get them all, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, before we have a resolution to receive your report, I would just ask Chief Wade if you would mind coming back when we have a discussion about the PHI security policy, just in case there's any questions associated with that you might have to answer. Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the year-end report? Councillor Devolin, Councillor Moffat.
Moved by Councillor Devolin, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receive for information the 2020 year-end paramedic report.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next up would be Finance. We'll bring in our Director of Finance. Good morning, Madam Treasurer.
Good morning, Warden and councillors.
If you want to go ahead with your reports.
Yes, sure. Okay, so the first report is the check register for January 2021 to May 2021. In case you're wondering why this is the first report you're getting this year, just a reminder that we have been implementing the new Microsoft Dynamics Great Plains software, or GP as we call it here. That has not been without its trials and tribulations. So I'm happy to report we're finally at a stage that we can give you some reporting. So the check register totals $6,259,000, $390.81. Didn't quite say that right, but I think you can read that number. That's from January to May 2021.
Are there any questions on the check register? Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive that? Councillor Roberts, Councillor Burton.
Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Burton. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the staff report on the check register for January 2021 to May 2021. And further, that it be recommended to Haliburton County Council that the check register for January 2021 to May 2021 with checks, EFTs, and PAPs totaling $6,259,390.81 be hereby approved.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, next is the payroll register.
Okay, so the payroll register from January 2021 to May 2021 totaled $2,379,150.02. Just the month of April had 3 pays. That's why it's a little bit higher than the other months.
Any questions? Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the payroll register? Councillor Schell and Councillor Moffat. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Schell, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the staff report on the payroll registers for January 2021 to May 2021. And further, that it be recommended to Haliburton County Council that the payroll registers for January 2021 to May 2021 with net direct deposits totaling $2,379,150.02 be hereby approved.
All in favor? That's carried. And the year-to-date actuals.
Okay, so the year-to-date actuals up to May 31st, 2021. So this covers January to May. Total operating expenses, we are 39.65% spent. We haven't spent as much on capital. We're only 2.37% on capital purchases. Overall, we are sitting at about 12.69% of the budgeted levy being spent. I do expect that we will come in on budget this year. 5/12 of the annual budget is 41.67%. So we're still running under.
Any questions on the year-to-date actuals? Could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the report? Councillor DeVolen, Councillor Ryall.
Moved by Councillor DeVolen, seconded by Councillor Ryall. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the staff report on the year-to-date actuals as at May 31st, 2021. And further, that it be recommended to Haliburton County Council that the year-to-date actuals as at May 31st, 2021 be hereby approved.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Madam Treasurer. We will see you again on the 23rd.
Thank you.
Next up is IT. And we'll bring in Director March. Good morning.
Gordon Danielson and members of the committee. So my first report is my standard IT status report that give you an overview of how many tickets completed and where IT stands at some of their ongoing projects. We're more than happy to take you through page by page or answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions on the report? I think we'll make that easy. Could I? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Roberts.
The last minute thing. Mike was at Dysart Council Chambers yesterday, and if I could ask how things went, we're setting up so that when we're able to meet in person, we'll still be live streaming our meetings with a audio visual system. So it was quite exciting to see all the parts moving. So I don't know how that went, if I may ask.
Testing went fine. We're doing a test run with your committee of adjustment that starts at 11 o'clock. So I'll know in an hour or two how well it went.
Okay, thank you.
So could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the IT status report? Councillor Roberts, Councillor Shell, thank you.
Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Shell. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the June 9th, 2021 IT Department Status Report.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And if we could bring Chief Wade in before Mr. March presents the security policy. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So today I'm presenting a draft electronic personal health information security policy for the committee's consideration. This policy was created to fulfill requirements as part of the EMS department's application to utilize the Health Partner Gateway portal. As part of that application process, there was a lengthy list of conditions that had to be met. One of which was to have a PHI security policy in place, which would govern the use of the Health Partner Gateway website. As mentioned in the report, although we currently have a IT security policy already in place, we felt it made sense to create a separate policy to deal with personal health information specifically, so we weren't burdening other staff with higher levels of security when it wasn't necessarily warranted. The policy was reviewed by the CAO and paramedic chief and deputy chief of QA. As well, we sent the policy to our solicitor for review. They stated that the policy serves to address the requirements for dealing with personal health information. And I've attached the solicitor's opinion to this report for your reference. So as usual with my policies, I'm more than happy to take you through piece by piece or answer any questions that you may have.
I think we can go to questions about the policy. Do any members of council have questions about this policy? Councillor Moffat.
I guess a question and a comment. I appreciate the work that's gone into it and certainly appreciate the value of personal health information for the community paramedicine folks to do their job. However, that doesn't preclude there being, a little bit of a concern with access to personal health information. And I know all the stopgap measures and policies can be put in place, but that doesn't prevent at any time in the future, I'm not trying to insult anybody or be rude, but transgressions or misuse of information, or it's pretty sensitive data that is, on the one hand, vital for healthcare and yet so confidential. And I'm looking for really firm reassurance that that balance and all those measures are in place to prevent the appropriate handling of that information.
Go ahead, Mike.
So there's a couple of pieces here. So I know we talked to, there's the InterDev platform, which has the ePCRs, and then there's Radius, which is the new application for community paramedics. And I believe they have their own internal auditing features. We don't see that, but the deputy chief of QA has a reporting function, so she can go in and see who has access to what and who's accessed what. For anything that we have internally on our servers, we actually have an auditing software that reports on who's accessed what, and that report is sent over to Chief Waite once a week. So he can review it to see if anybody's accessing files that they shouldn't be accessing. Obviously, it's on its own secure server with only those people who are authorized to access it can access it. So those are some of the parameters that we have put in place. But again, nothing's 100%. Try our best. We're trying to follow everything in the policy. But again, nothing's 100%. But I think it's pretty solid.
I would wonder what action would be taken or what would be the ramifications if someone was found to have transgressed, let's say.
Can I answer that question?
Absolutely.
There is all kinds of case law that would show that termination is a reasonable response to that kind of breach.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions about the policy? Could I have a mover and a seconder then to adopt the policy? Councillor DeVolen, Councillor Burton.
Moved by Councillor DeVolen, seconded by Councillor Burton. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the June 9th, 2021 report on the electronic personal health information security policy, and that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole recommends to Haliburton County Council that the draft electronic personal health information security policy be adopted.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. An in-depth policy. Good work.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda are planning and environment, and we have nothing today for that. Nothing in the open session for personnel. So next up would be tourism. So if we could bring Amanda back to talk about the RED funding application. Welcome back.
Good morning again. Just a quick report to let you know that we were unsuccessful with our rural economic development application. We had applied to support the destination management plan implementation, specifically for a content creator position, some website and social media enhancements. We worked very closely throughout the beginning of the year with our advisor from the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. They had actually encouraged us. They thought we had a really strong application and there was lots of back and forth, and encouraged us to make it a larger ask in a 2-year application span. But unfortunately, we received a letter of decline on May 18th, and I'm going to be working with our development advisor to better understand why our application was not successful, because it was just sort of a form letter that we received. And it's my intention to bring forward a report on potential steps for council consideration to the June 23rd meeting. In terms of budget impact, we did include $25,000 revenue from the RED program for the 2021 tourism budget.
Any questions on this report? Councillor Moffat.
Not a question so much as a circle back. Thank you for comments that I'd made in the beginning during the delegation that you know, the content creator position was an important piece of the destination management plan. It's been denied. We do have safe restart money. Is there interest in trying to align destination management plan, economic development, you know, some community needs for post-COVID bolstering to try and knit these pieces together to move something really good forward? But again, from that bigger picture. I don't know where we are on the economic development position, and I'm not sure where we are on you know, steps 1, 2, 9, and 410 on the destination management plan. So just looking to sort of stitch some things together if there's interest in that.
Yeah, the economic development position has been posted. And that's as much as I could say at this point in time. And I suspect that we should probably be receiving some form of ongoing reports as to progress on recommended steps 1 through 499 in the plan. But, you know, I'm sure that Amanda might want to talk to how that could be addressed or how you see that going forward. And a question from Councillor DeVolen.
Well, comment on Councillor Moffat's. Absolutely. If we can tick the box and use the Safe Restart funding to do this in the absence of the RED funding, I would be in support of it. And if it doesn't tick the box, I would still be in support of we find the money to do it and move on with this. I think this is an important thing. We would have loved some money from another source, but I don't think the denial should serve as impeding that work, and we should move forward if we can.
I would ask our CAO, just for council's information, where we stand with the Safe Restart funding in a general way, and not necessarily down to the penny, and whether this would fit that funding stream.
My initial response would be yes, it does fit. In terms of where we sit with it, I believe there is funding available that we haven't nearly spent it all. I have asked the treasurer for an updated report, which will be easier to produce now that we are able to produce reports in our financial software. So I'll be getting that information, but we can circle back to council even in 2 weeks with a report and some more detailed information about where we sit with Safe Restart.
Council was supportive of that coming back to our council meeting. Okay, we would ask for that. Well, okay, at this point in time, I guess I'd ask for a mover and a seconder to receive the report. Councillor Moffat. Come on, you guys. One more hand. Councillor Ryle, thank you.
So I did add to the resolution. So, you know, if the mover and seconder are fine with this, let me know. Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Ryle. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Committee of the Whole receives for information the report on the Rural Economic Development Funding application, and that staff be requested to prepare a report reviewing options to fund the work that was intended to be supported by the RED grant.
Are the mover and seconder supportive of that? Okay, all in favor? That's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next. Is there anything that you wish to bring forward under intermunicipal collaboration, Mr. CAO?
No, I don't think I have anything. We had a meeting on the service delivery review implementation a couple of weeks ago, and the CAOs are working on implementing the direction we received.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the open portion of our meeting. If I could have a mover and a seconder to move into closed session. Councillor Roberts, Councillor Shell.
Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Shell. Be it resolved that Haliburton County Committee of the Whole enter into closed session as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
All in favor? That's carried. And we'll just have a couple of moments as we move over into closed.
We're live.
Okay, welcome back. Only one item of business left to conduct, and that is to adjourn our meeting. So if I could have a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Councillor DeVolen and Councillor Royale.
Moved by Councillor DeVolen, seconded by Councillor Ryle. Be it resolved that the June 9th, 2021 meeting of Haliburton County Committee of the Whole now adjourn.
All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, everyone. See you on the 23rd. Stay safe.
Thank you.